Welcome back to the final part of the biggest developer you've never heard of. It's Distinctive Software Inc., and you should probably go back and watch the first 4 parts before this final entry, where we catch up with where everyone is today. If you insist on sticking around, know that Distinctive Software were the creators of a few little game series called Test Drive, Need for Speed, and FIFA. You may have heard of them. Your gran may have heard of them. They also converted games like Hardball, Outrun, Metal Gear, Pipe Mania and Altered Beast to various systems, and were responsible for well-remembered other games like Grand Prix Circuit and Stunts. You also have them to thank for the last 20 years of NHL games, for SSX and for Skate. And all this means that DSI, then EA Canada, and these days EA Vancouver, is a bit of an operation. This is their office in Vancouver. It's so big we don't even call it an office. Apparently this is a campus. And to be fair, as the various tour videos people have posted over the years show, it's almost more like a university than an office. The full-size football pitch in the middle there serves not only to remind us of their most famous current product, but also as a neat scale to the size of the thing. If you're wondering, a football pitch is about 120 metres or 360 feet long.
What a lot of people don't know is this place doubles as the missile defense system for all of Canada.
1,300 people now work there. The studio features a full motion capture studio, 2 Starbucks, a large employee fitness area, plus, and this is my allusion to the biggest game dev right back at the start, what EA claimed to be the largest video games QA operation in the world. If you have ever been screwed by a bug in an EA game, this is where you should stomp over to and demand justice. The campus also houses, to various levels of my own excitement, an arcade, a dry cleaner, a library of everything EA, a chiropractor, 2 theatres, a roof terrace, indoor and outdoor basketball courts, and an on-site dog park. It's quite the transformation from Don and Jeff in their dorm rooms, isn't it? Speaking of Don, we haven't heard from him in a while. Not since EA bought DSI back in 1991. Traditionally, when you build a company that's acquired, as the founder you tend to leave pretty quickly. It's not yours anymore, and hell, you're probably now super rich. Don certainly did okay from the EA deal. EA paid about $10 million for DSI, of which the majority went to Don in the form of shares in EA, itself worth about $200 million at this point. Don didn't leave, though. He stayed with EA in upper management for the next 15 years.
I'm here to tell you about some of the great titles our teams are creating for Xbox 360. This is the largest development commitment that EA has ever made in support of a new console. Right now, we have more than 25 EA titles in development for Xbox 360. And when it hits the stores this Christmas holiday season, our goal is to have at least 6 EA games waiting so gamers can see what Xbox 360 power is all about.
By the time he did leave in 2005, ironically to be replaced by his former DSI number 2 Paul Lee, Mattrick was president of Worldwide Studios at EA. For most people, that would be the end of the story. Don would have retired to spend more time with his money. But Don's still a games man. After a couple of years off, he joined Microsoft as Senior Vice President in charge of Xbox 360 and PC.
It's the year we introduce a whole new way for everyone to play with Kinect. At Xbox, we believe fun is a universal magnet that binds us together. We believe interactive entertainment is the greatest form of all entertainment.
At Microsoft, Don was responsible for Kinect. You remember Kinect, right? It was the camera array for 360 and Xbox One that was going to transform gaming by creating innovative gaming experiences like Stalk a Small Child.
Hiya Milo, how you doing?
Hi Claire, you okay?
Actually, I'm a bit nervous.
You? Nervous? I don't believe it.
This is the first time that thousands of people are going to see this.
Thousands of people?
Here we're seeing Claire being recognised, and the emotion in Claire's voice being recognised, and that emotion reflecting in Milo's face. Those are all being seen for the first time.
So listen, I was thinking today you should let me beat you at football again. That is if you finished your homework. You have finished your school project.
It's easy to mock Kinect. Fun too. It ended up just being a device for making people look stupid at parties. They did sell 35 million of them though. If they made a mistake, it was in tying it in as a central experience with the new Xbox One. Not helped by some disturbing patent applications. One of which, for instance, would have allowed them to charge for video content based on the number of people in the room. This was not the only mistake made with the Xbox One. The Xbox initially was never really meant to be a pure gaming machine. As we saw back in episode 12 of Yesterday, the Xbox project existed as a reaction to Sony's plan to move the PlayStation from a games machine to something more. Sony were making a big thing of the PS2 being technically a supercomputer, for instance, although that was more definitions not keeping up with technical progress. Your phone is very much a supercomputer by that definition. There was also the PlayStation 3's upcoming ability to run Linux, and the launch of the PSX digital video recorder series, which incorporated a PlayStation 2. Microsoft saw Sony and their like as a potential threat to their whole business. Despite this, the Xbox and 360 never really did much outside gaming, although the introduction of Xbox Live set the template for online console gaming long before Sony really got their act together. The failure of both the PSX and the removal of Linux from PlayStation 3 meant that the world had changed. Equally though, the almost unexpected size of the success of the 360, helped by Sony somewhat torpedoing themselves with a confused launch, meant that the games machine itself was perhaps more important to Microsoft than they initially realised it would be. What goes around comes around though, and Xbox One was their breakthrough bid for the whole living room. Don by this point had the job title President of Interactive Entertainment, and was front and centre for the Xbox One project alongside Phil Spencer, now head of Xbox, previously General Manager for Xbox Game Studios. Even before the launch, there were issues. As rumours do, rumours leaked out. Some were true, some were not, and Microsoft were forced to deny rumours that the Xbox One would be online only. This was a mistake, given at that point the plan was absolutely for it to be online only.
Filled with more joy,
adrenaline, and excitement.
And the more of you we put in games,
the more of you.
Watching the launch event now is an almost surreal affair. The opening montage does include games makers, but front and centre are several figures from TV and movies. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail with this presentation, because I need you to remember and understand just what an immense disaster this was.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for joining us on the Microsoft campus at the home of Xbox. Team Xbox is on a new mission. Design and build an all-in-one system to light up a new generation of games, TV, and entertainment. Today, we're thrilled to unveil the ultimate all-in-one home entertainment system. The one with the power to create experiences that look and feel like nothing else. The one that makes your TV more intelligent. The one system for a new generation. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Xbox One.
The opening introduction to the console has no video footage of anything at all, just pictures of the newer, uglier Kinect and a controller that's barely changed at all, as well as the slightly meaningless phrase, cloud-powered, which is usually an indication you're in trouble. Don hands over to Yusuf Mehdi to talk about the new experiences, by which it very quickly becomes clear he means TV.
Xbox and Kinect. Now let me set up the aspiration. What if a single device could provide all your entertainment?
We're 20% into the hour-long presentation here, and we've seen exactly 0 games. Or anything else, for that matter. I hope he's got something good. Xbox Game Studio head Phil Spencer later remembered the launch. If you go back and watch the reveal, what you'll see is an event that was very much focused on Xbox as a TV platform, Spencer said. We showed things like The Price is Right, for instance. In fact, I think the first piece of content that we ever showed on an Xbox One was a TV show. He's exactly right. The first thing the world saw this exciting new games console show wasn't a new Halo, a new Forza, or, heaven forbid, some exciting new games IP. It was Drew Carey paying the bills by hosting a 57-year-old game show. Almost hidden in this sequence is our first glimpse of a game, with a blink-and-you'll-miss-it shot of a Forza 5 demo. I'm not sure switching was ever as instant in reality as he makes it look either. But then we're on to the real draw of a new games console. Skype. Sigh. This goes on for another 10 minutes. Maybe we'll get some games now.
You know, it looks like you're doing okay yourself. I'm looking forward to you showing off the great work.
I jest, of course. Mark Whitten is here to talk deep tech. Some of this is actually quite interesting, if it were a behind-the-scenes video posted after the launch. But this is the second item in the launch of a new games console, for which I remind you we have seen no games. We haven't seen a single second of actual gameplay, but we now know how many transistors the thing has, and how the Kinect tracks skeletal movement. Someone signed this off. And by someone, I mean Don Mattrick. 27 minutes into a 60-minute presentation, we get a hint of game. It's Andrew Wilson, from Don's old friends at EA Sports. And that's all very well, but he's basically just showing off FIFA and Madden. Even then, we're still watching video as athletes wang on about stuff we don't care about. During this sequence, we pass the half-hour mark, and the nearest we're seeing to a game is marvelling that they think the glamour team to show in FIFA prototype form is Newcastle Bloody United. Let's be clear here. This presentation is exactly 62 minutes and 38 seconds. We pass halfway through the launch of what I remind you is a games console for video games, and we have not seen a game properly in motion yet. Finally, at 32 minutes and 50 seconds, we get game footage. It's still a trailer rather than anyone actually playing anything, but it is at least game. And it includes DSI's FIFA 14 from angles you would never, ever consider playing it at. Finally though, it's Phil Spencer, the guy we mentioned complaining about The Price is Right earlier. He's a games man. And indeed he does show off a couple. Most notably the always stunning looking Forza Motorsport. It's still a trailer, but to be fair, this is about how Forza looks in reality. Phil mentions Halo, but notably does not show us any Halo. More than one retro gamer at this point is remembering how Sega managed to launch the Saturn without Sonic, and how much that cost. Phil only has time for one more game glimpse. Remedy's merely average Quantum Break. It doesn't really matter how good it is though, because the game wouldn't be a launch title. In fact, in reality, it wouldn't launch for nearly 3 years after this point, crawling out in April 2016. Even then, Quantum Break was effectively a combined TV series and game.
Yeah, Peyton, I do.
And just like that, Phil is off. And the head of television is on. Her qualifications to launch a games console are:
During my years at CBS and Warner Brothers, I was fortunate to work with some of the best creative talent in entertainment. Among our many achievements was the CSI franchise and Survivor, television shows that offer proof that innovation is about breaking the rules and betting on the power of invention.
I don't know about you, but I know I watched CSI and thought, this broke the rules and isn't like every procedural drama ever. But then, she mentions Halo. Finally, this is the big one. Halo was huge at this point, right on top of its game. Microsoft's biggest exclusive by a mile. This is where Microsoft redeem themselves. It's Bonnie, head of 343 Industries, developers of Halo since Bungie went off to do Destiny. It's actually happening.
Thank you, Nancy. For me, Halo has always been more than a game. It's an amazing experience that takes place in a rich and deeply connected sci-fi universe. So, today, along with Nancy, I'm thrilled to announce a live-action Halo television series.
Really?
With 343 Industries and one of the best storytellers of all time, Mr. Steven Spielberg.
I wish I could be there with you today in person.
But I'm not flying out for this bollocks.
I've been playing games for decades.
Yeah, it's a sodding TV series. But it gets even better. These events take place in May 2013. If you are watching this video and you're not me, you're watching it either in or after February 2020, at least 6.5 years later. You might be thinking that you don't remember a Halo TV series, and you would be right, because it still hasn't premiered. It's currently planned for next year, but they have said that more than once at this point. It merits a full 4 lines on Wikipedia.
That Halo will take us on. Thank you.
Nancy is clearly uncomfortable. The applause is sounding a lot more polite than enthusiastic compared to the whooping at the start of the show. And we're back to showing TV again. In this case, live sport. We're even interviewing Don Mattrick about it on video when he's literally right there at the side of the stage. They're talking about playing fantasy football. By the end of this segment, we've arguably seen more gameplay footage of fantasy football than of any actual video game. See? Don's still there. It seems a small gripe that they interviewed him on video when they could have done it live, but it all contributes to the general sense of it being what an old colleague of mine endearingly would describe simply as a cluster. We've 10 minutes to go, but Don's already wrapping up. He can't announce a price or a date more specific than later this year, but he's trying. He's not mentioning the price, of course, because he knows what we know. It's going to be £75 more than the PS4. Thanks in part to the bundling of Kinect. We do end on something resembling a high. Eric from Activision is smart enough to do the thing Microsoft should have done, and specifically show the differences Xbox One could make to games by comparing a previous Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3, and this new one, Ghosts. Still, it's a bit late. And unsurprisingly, when the internet reacted to the launch, it was with edited videos like this one.
TV experience. TV and movies. TV. Xbox. Watch TV. 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 Watch TV. 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 TV remote. TV experience. TV. 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 Sports TV. 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 Anybody? TV, TV, and TV, 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 TV. Xbox, go home.
It wasn't mentioned at all during the launch event, which didn't help everyone's confusion on what the online requirement meant for games. At first, the story was that a loss of connectivity, however brief, could cause an Xbox One to dump to the title screen, potentially losing your progress. IGN, 2 weeks after the launch, finally managed to get clarification on this.
You can play all of your Xbox One games that you have bought on any Xbox One.
Yes.
But there is a crucial difference. On your home Xbox One, like your primary Xbox One, it needs to connect to the internet once every 24 hours.
Yes, to make sure that you are not playing something you shouldn't be. It's monitoring to make sure that you're not doing anything sketchy.
And checking for updates. But if you're playing it on any other Xbox One, like you want at work, you want at your friend's house, you want at your partner's house, that has to connect to the internet every hour to check that you are still the person
Chelsea comes over to hang out, she wants to play.
And that's at least vaguely understandable. But some people, especially young children, were still on systems that parents didn't want to connect to the internet. They also clarified rumours that discs would be locked to a system and wouldn't work on others, reducing even physical games to digital proxies, and killing the used game industry stone dead.
Question 1 answered.
Question 2,
what's next?
Can I trade in my game that I've bought new?
Maybe. Depends on the publisher, right?
Yeah.
So publishers will dictate whether or not you can trade a game. So if you buy a Ubisoft game, Ubisoft will say yes or no, you can trade this, and yes or no, you can trade it at this particular outlet at retail.
We've also got new information about what happens if you want to lend your friend a game.
Oh, you can't at all.
You can't lend it, but you can give it. So say I have a game. Oh, another thing. So I've got a game. I want to give it to my friend Mitchie here. We're not Xbox Live friends, so we can't. You have to be Xbox Live friends for 30 days at least, and then you can give that game. So I can now give that game to Mitch.
So Keza would lose the rights to that game, give it to me, and they would be my rights forever. The rights die with me. So if Keza wants to trade a game, she can't trade a game that I have given her because there are no rights left to give.
So basically, if you buy a game new, you can trade it in, but after that, it appears you can trade it in once one person can buy it, and after that, it seems like that's it.
I'm still confused.
This didn't help. People didn't want to be beholden to publishers in order to trade in games, and they certainly didn't want to get permission to use their disc-based games around their mate's house without having to be constantly logged in as themselves even when they weren't there. Don didn't help himself here, especially with this comment.
People could have arguably gone the other way if we didn't do it, and fortunately we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't, like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device. I mean, seriously, when I read...
Unsurprisingly, he was eviscerated both in the press and by his competitors for this.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
It wasn't popular with the engineers at Microsoft either, who thought they'd been horribly misrepresented. Phil again. The feedback we got from the employees, maybe said and unsaid, was, "We've been working really hard for 2 years to ship this product. You stand on stage at this event and blow up all the good work we've done by talking about the product in a way that's not really matching what the soul of an Xbox console is about, and what our customers are looking for from us." 4 weeks later, Don was forced into an embarrassing climb down, and the Xbox One would no longer require constant internet, at the cost of some of those features, such as the ability to play disc games without the disc. At E3, Phil Spencer stepped up to declare it the games presentation, starting with a ghost from Don's past with a video of the previously Sony exclusive series Metal Gear Solid. As a presentation, it was pure damage limitation, and undermined huge portions of the previous month's show. The Xbox One went to market with two of the more controversial aspects intact. Firstly, that forced bundling of the Kinect camera, and secondly, that price premium over the PS4. The Xbox One would also be always listening, a much more controversial feature in 2013 than the likes of the Amazon Echo have made it today. The Xbox One has ultimately sold less than half of Sony's machine, despite Kinect disappearing less than a year later, and the more powerful Xbox One X debuting in 2017. Unsurprisingly, Don departed Microsoft very shortly after E3, joining mobile freemium gaming parasite Zynga as CEO, where he remained for 2 years, achieving nothing anyone noticed. He has yet to resurface in the gaming industry, so seemingly this completes the DSI story started 35 years earlier. Maybe Microsoft will invite him back to announce whatever the hell they're calling the next box this week. There's one final side note to this tale. One more person we never followed up. Remember Tani Williams of Sydney Development Corporation, who gave Mattrick and Sember their first big break? Well, he stayed with them right through the DSI and purchased by EA eras, retiring from EA for health reasons as CEO of EA Canada in 1993. He's not who I want to highlight though. Remember that 10-year-old whose approval of Evolution started this whole thing off? His name was also Tani Williams, because misery loves company. And he joined games too. He was at EA as a producer on Medal of Honor and NBA Live, before becoming general manager at former THQ and now Sega studio Relic Entertainment. So technically, you probably also have DSI to thank for Company of Heroes and Warhammer 40,000. They're currently working on Age of Empires 4 for Microsoft. So here we are. Are you still standing? Is there anyone who likes video games enough to watch YouTube documentaries who can honestly say they've never played Test Drive, Stunts, Hardball, any Sega port of the late 80s, Need for Speed? And surely anyone left after that has at some point had contact with one of 20 FIFA's, NHL's or the SSX series. And if that's not good enough, we skipped a few. Did any of you standing people ever play Def Jam Fight for New York? Or Vendetta? The EA Sports UFC games? EA Sports Fight Night? NBA Live? NCAA March Madness? EA Sports Rugby? NBA Street? NFL Street? NFL Tour? They even did one of the Madden games on the Wii. Well, fine then. If you're still on your feet, can you go get us a tea? Because that was a hell of a marathon. And given EA Vancouver and the spirit of DSI are still going, they'll get you eventually. In the meantime, huge thanks for watching, and if you've not watched them before, can I recommend the Yesterzean series for more historical cold takes. We play the highest and lowest rated games from an issue of an old gaming magazine and look for the hidden stories contained within. Do share your DSI or EA Canada gaming memories in the comments or on Twitter. Maybe tell me which game got you sitting down. And I'll see you next time. Cheers, loves.